Next, I would like to invite Mr. Yifan He, who is the founder and CEO of Red Date Technology, to talk about the BSN Spartan network. Yifan.
Thank you, Tim, and thank you, King. And we consider Hong Kong as a home base of BSN Spartan network. You know, we actually discussed about the idea 3 months ago, and we implement with more than a dozen teams implement the Spartan network in 3 months, and launch today. So it's a big project, but it's like hundreds of people working on this together, 3 months. And my team actually worked until 6 in the morning to launch the whole thing. Okay, like 40 of them. So this is thank you, King, and also I want to first thank my team, Dr. Law. Thank you. So today I will share. First, the title of my speech is FAQ of BSN Spartan network. So usually the FAQs are at the end of something. But I want to do this first because this is so new. The concept is new. The technology is new. Especially that's why people usually, when they heard the Spartan network, BSN or non-cryptocurrency public chains, they always have some big questions. So the purpose of my speech is to address those questions first. Then I will give the stage to my colleague Tim, and he will go through some detailed, technical details and operational details of the BSN Spartan network. So first, what is BSN Spartan network? BSN Spartan network technically is not a blockchain project. It's a cloud services project. Consider that as a decentralized cloud services network. It's like a Google Cloud, like a AWS Cloud, but it's decentralized. And the operating system no longer is Linux, Unix, or Windows NT. The operating system for this cloud services is blockchain. So consider is a cloud services network. Okay, so it's not purely blockchain because one day the operating system on Spartan network will not be blockchain. It's probably become a next generation of some kind of decentralized operating systems. So this is very important. It's not one blockchain, it's a cloud. And the second one, like I said, the operating system is blockchain. We actually specifically use non-cryptocurrency public chains. So this is a very big concept. We think public chain actually a very powerful technology, but until today, 99.99999% of all the IT systems in the world don't use public chains, and 99% of the application on public chain is about cryptocurrencies. That's a fact. So why such a powerful and beautiful technology no one want to use? It's because the cryptocurrency and it embedded into the layer 1, which means no matter how you want to use public chain, you have to hold cryptocurrencies. And that cryptocurrency we consider as a speculative asset, which means the price is up and down. You cannot use that into a regular business scenario because it's too risky. For public chains, it's just an IT infrastructure. For most business, when they use IT infrastructure, they just want to pay a fee, and for the services, they don't want to, involve some, financial trading, financial operations. So that actually we consider, how to really bring public chains to all the IT systems in the world is to get rid of the cryptocurrency. Okay, So that's why we actually working with some public interest team and some technical companies, and many of them actually from Hong Kong. And we actually rebuilt 3 public chains with their existing framework to have non-cryptocurrency versions. They are Ethereum, Cosmos, and Polygon. So without the cryptocurrency, so how you use those public chains? You basically, just like you use Google Cloud and AWS to pay a fixed fee based on how much resources you are using. So that's the whole concept. That's why we call this a cloud services project, not a blockchain project. Then the next question, actually, this is a little bit technical. Okay, people say, okay, become a public chain without the cryptocurrency. The first question is how decentralized it is, because remember, when you remove cryptocurrency, that price for using the public chain becomes so low, so people may attack the public chain, the non-cryptocurrency public chain, just by install, so many validator nodes. So for the non-cryptocurrency public chains, usually we have limited validator nodes. Then people will say, then, how decentralized it is. What I want to emphasize here is the decentralization, the public chain talk about, I call them universal decentralization, which means anyone can join, no matter race, gender, which country you come from, you can always join as a validator node and be part of the validating process. That's called the universal consensus. Okay, why? Because the public chain, the cryptocurrency on public chain basically is a big wallet, big ledger. Everybody's balance inside. So that's why you need a universal consensus to protect it. But remember, there are so many business transactions doesn't require universal consensus. For example, one type of business transaction, let's say marriage, sometimes it's a business transaction, okay? You only need 2 people to give consent. Why you need the entire population to give you proof to get married? And if you're paying someone with fair money, why you need the entire population to give you consensus? Why? So the universal consensus, the only application in the world is cryptocurrency. Can you give me another example? You need a universal consensus. Let me give you another extreme case, okay? One country, they get rid of the government. Say, okay, let's build a big decentralized infrastructure so each citizen can vote, in the morning after you get up, spend 2 hours to vote on all the matters in the country. We can do that, okay? And remember, it's still permission-based. Why? Because you definitely won't allow any foreigner to vote in that scenario. So it's still not a universal consensus. If I do that, and if you count all the marriages, you probably spend 8 hours just do voting. If I do that, I will deny all the applications on marriage. Just for fun. So that's why the consensus sometimes, if only one party, we call that centralized system, centralized consensus, just one party. If there's 2, it's decentralized. If there's 1,000, it's very decentralized. If there's unlimited people, it's the universal decentralized or universal consensus required. So this is actually, if you want to fit into as many business scenarios, you cannot build an infrastructure specifically asking for one type of consensus. It's wrong. Okay, that's why cryptocurrency is just one simple application. You cannot apply that logic to other business scenarios. So that's why Spartan Network as a cloud service network, eventually we will have up to 40 validating nodes, okay, which will be in the BSN Foundation, all 40 members. Remember, for a traditional IT infrastructure serving traditional IT, business, 40 is a very, very decentralized governance system. Remember, AWS and the Google Cloud is managed by one party, and you trust them. Why? That's why I always ask my friends from the crypto industry, you basically put your digital asset into a decentralized environment, but when you run a business, you put all your customers' information into a centralized like AWS and Google. See, you value your personal asset more than your customers' data. Think about this, okay? And the Spartan network is still a commercial project. And who are the customers? Actually, everybody outside mainland China. Okay, because by regulation, the Spartan network is public chain, no KYC, so it's we cannot use that inside mainland China. But outside mainland China, every single person related to IT. You can be an IT manager, you can be an IT developer, whoever you are a potential customer of BSN Spartan network. Okay, so we actually, during the development of the Spartan network, we actually working with dozens of traditional IT systems, IT department. We actually come up with so many beautiful user cases to serve traditional IT process. So my colleague Tim will give you more information on that. Also during lunch, you can see some slides, for each user cases we come up. Some user cases is so, well thought. It's beyond our imagination, before we started. It's everybody think about, and who builds the Spartan network? Still, it's a decentralized network. It's not, built by one party. So it's actually built by many, many parties. From the top is the smart contract developers who actually deploy their application on Spartan network, become services. Then the end users and their customer can call those smart contracts as a decentralized application. So it's the first layer is application developers. And the second layer is Spartan data center operators, because BSN Spartan network is a decentralized infrastructure. So it's actually made up by, our users who set up a small data center and link them together become the Spartan network. It's not like we build the data centers, people access to it. It's everybody, we all build data centers, link them together, become the Spartan network. So the Spartan data center operators actually is a user of the Spartan network. And then whoever access to Spartan network through the data centers is their customer. It's not even our customer. We don't even know them. And also the operating systems, the non-cryptocurrency public chain operators. Each chain, there's a team. It could be one single company. It could be a community. So they actually maintain the source codes and doing more and more developments and to basically maintain the chain securities and the improvements. And the last one is BSN Foundation, including Reddit. So there will be 5 members 2 months from now on, and 10 members by end of this year, and eventually 40 members. So 40 international companies together to manage this whole network. We set up a BSN Foundation in Singapore. and basically the BSN Foundation will be the governing body of the BSN Spartan network. And like I said, each member in that foundation has equal rights to vote on all the matters on Spartan network. For example, if we want to have one more non-crypto public chain, we vote. Okay, we review the codes and we vote. And if we want to add a new member, we vote. And we want to adjust the pricing on Spartan network, we vote. Basically, we vote on everything and with equal rights. So we truly want to, to build the Spartan network as a truly decentralized business and the network and the infrastructure. Okay, trust me, 14 member will be very decentralized. Many cryptocurrency project that is not even actually that decentralized. So this is actually pretty complicated because Spartan network there's also an economic system to there. So I will very briefly to talk about this. First, when you are a user, you want to connect to the Spartan network, there's two ways. One way is to set up your own data center. Setting up a data center with one or two non-cryptocurrency nodes. But within the data center, actually you can install as many nodes you want. You can install one node for each non-crypto public chain, or just one node for just one chain. Okay, and also you can install 100 nodes for one chain. We don't really care. It's really depends. But if you install one node within the data center, the resources fee probably costs you like $100 per month. Okay, so basically, if you want to use BSN Spartan network and you want your own access point, then you set up a data center, become part of the network. That's the first way. Second way is you don't want to spend that resources. Okay, you say, okay, let me find a third-party data center to access. Then it's very easy. Just go to that data center's interface, get a chain account or wallets, then top up some money, then just connect to the chain, deploy smart contract or call any smart contract you want. So there's two ways. But we encourage people to set up data centers because the more data center we have, the more decentralized we are. So, but when you use the chain, you always need pay a resources fee, just like all the cloud services providers. It's very low. Okay, right now, when we launch today, after commercial launch, each transaction it probably costs you 3 cents US dollar, 3 cents. Okay, that's personally I think that's the highest the price after launch, because we have multiple chains, they will compete with each other. Okay. And the price eventually we think will drop down to less than 1 cent US dollar. Okay, eventually in 2 or 3 years. So that transaction, because everybody, if technical, each transaction actually costs different gas, because different transaction. So as a benchmark, that 3 cents means you are minting ERC 721 NFT. The cost on Spartan network, all the chains. Okay, that's a benchmark. So how you pay for the gas? You actually use fair money. Okay, fair money, and that 3 cents is fixed. No matter how many NFTs you mint, it's always 3 cents. Okay, so you pay. You actually use fair money to buy an NTT. Why we call that NTT? It's still a token. Okay, it's still a token, utility token, but the NTT stands for non-tradable token. So it's not even transferable. You cannot transfer. It's you use fiat money to buy NTT and use NTT to top up the wallets with the gas credit. We call that gas credit. Then you consume the gas credit for the transactions. So it's a little bit long, but because we want to encourage more and more data center to be built, so we have two incentive program. The first incentive program is you will receive free NTT when you set up new nodes. Okay, if you have data center, each nodes you set up after 10 days, testing, then there's a certain amount one-time reward to you. And the second one is actually the main incentive. We call that data center monthly incentive program. Remember, this is the cloud services network is not crypto, so the incentive is not for you to making money. Okay, the incentive is like a shopping malls, airlines. When you spend money, we give you something back, like the royalty points. So the monthly incentive program is basically is how much you spent last month. Okay, if you spend like $100,000, then there's $20,000, $30,000 become free NFTs goes to your wallets. So it's basically a royalty points program. But here is one thing I want to emphasize is all the NTT minted on the Spartan network is through the incentive program, which means the Spartan, the BSN Foundation don't really mint NFTs. Everything will be minted on data center's wallets. Then after you spend the NTT, the NTT go back to a NTT master account. Then when you use fiat money to buy, you buy from master accounts back to you. And the fiat money go to a bank account. And that's the income of the Spartan network, and which will be distributed among members and the chain operators. So it's if you are interested, you can go through the white paper. It have more detailed explanation. Okay, this is basically the elephant in the room. Okay, because BSN is originated from China, it's still considered state-backed blockchain project. So when we launch something outside China, people always ask, can we trust it? That's a fact. So what we're trying to do is really build the BSN Spartan network into a top-notch international standard. Not even international standard, it's more than international standard. The first thing we do is open source, 100%. Okay, all the non-crypto public chains, the data center software, all the management and the governance smart contracts on those chains, everything is open source. So first, for open source, if you don't trust the system, go through the codes. I think that second one is we actually keep the entire Spartan network operation anonymously, which means if you are a customer, you want to use the Spartan network, to set up a data center, you actually can set it up anonymously. We don't collect anything except one email address. So, and when you pay for the NTT with fiat money, you can choose to use USDC. Okay, we don't like a cryptocurrency, but in order for our customer to be total anonymous, we still use USDC. I don't consider USDC a crypto, okay? It's a stablecoin, but when you use USDC on any chain, you still need to hold a little bit, cryptocurrencies. So that's why from set up the data center for all the payment you make for everything, we only know one email address. So, and if you are an end user and connect to the Spartan network through a third-party data center, we don't know who you are. We know nothing. Okay, that's why we don't even see the end users. We only see how many data centers set up. So, for example, after 1 year, what kind of customer data we have? If there's 1,000 data center set up, we have like 1,000 email address, probably all Gmail or Hotmail. And whoever the end users are, we have no idea, but we know how many wallets out there. So we know how many people are connecting to the Spartan network, but we don't know who. So this is very important. We keep this 100% anonymous. Okay. And the last one, transparency. Remember, those everything we actually, all the management and the governance of the Spartan network actually happened on-chain. It's not in a back-end system. Okay, for example, all the voting results from members. Everybody can see, how many yes, how many no. You probably won't know who voted yes or no, but you'll know how many yes or how many no, how many voting happened. So, and let me tell you one thing, I guarantee you, this is probably the only commercial project in the world to be so transparent. The NTT master account is transparent to the public. What that means is everybody knows the daily income, total revenue of Spartan network. It's open to the public. You can check and find each transaction for people, for a data center to buy NTT from the master account. So you know how much money we make each day on the entire Spartan network. For all the members, all the chain operators, can you name one commercial project, open their books to you? That's how transparent we are. Okay, so this is what I mean by not only international standard, we do better than international standard to be total transparent. I mean, if you still doubt us, then that's your problem, So the next question is, how secure is a Spartan network? First, remember there are still non-cryptocurrency public chains, and we open source that. So you can actually download the source codes from non-cryptocurrency version and the original codes. You can compare them to see what we changed. Actually, not that much, just, make the wallets, not transferable. And so the change is not a lot. That's why the public chain on Spartan network is still as secure as the original public chain, because we never changed anything on security. So, and it's no longer a cryptocurrency chain. So what you have on chain is business data. But remember, if you use a smart contract and still you business data within a private key protected smart contract is as hard as stealing from your cryptocurrency wallet. So you say, oh, the BSN Foundation, some people there can steal my data. I mean, if we can steal your data, why we even steal your business data? I will just go to Bitcoin and steal everybody's Bitcoin. That's much easier. So those chains, the data on those chains is as secure as the public chain. But if you build a lousy smart contract, then that's, there's no way we can, protect you from that. Just like you are building a website on Google Cloud. That website has a lot of bugs and holes. It's not Google Cloud's problem. It's your problem, okay? And the second one, people can say, okay, you have the locally installed data centers. Okay, those data, some of the data center operators are not, professionally technical as you guys think. So if they got hacked, is that a risk? Actually, no. Okay, because the local data center, actually everything is interact with the nodes they install. It's only interact with on-chain, which means in the local data center, there's not much data. actually locally done. Most of the data center management area you can see is actually check all the data on chain. So even you take over a data center, you got nothing. The only thing the data center operators need to be careful is where to store their certificates and the private keys. But it's as long as you use anything with blockchain, that's something you need to handle. So the locally data center actually is very secure. If it's not, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. And then the next question, security question is, most public chains actually hacked by taking over the majority of validator nodes. Can someone, hack all the foundation members and take over their validator nodes? It could, it could happen. But remember, all the validator nodes are installed in those international companies' cloud or their on-premise, which means you have to hack, a bunch of large enterprise system almost at the same time, because we can fix this very short time if we found out. The worst case scenario, you take over majority of the validator nodes. What can you do? You still cannot steal data from the smart contracts because it's still private key protected. Usually, it's a disaster for cryptocurrency public chains because people can fork a new chain and copy all your cryptocurrency into another chain. Okay, that's actually one of the worst case scenario for cryptocurrencies. But we are not a cryptocurrency chain. If someone take over majority of a validator node and make a copy, hard copy of the existing chain, we just consider they freely to set up a backup for us. Which means if you lose your data on the main chain, you can go to their chain to get your data. It's a backup. So, and they build that for free. Thank you. Yeah. So I mean, we don't really see a huge risk on the securities. Okay, but we, of course, because it's open source project, we welcome people to test it. If you find some bugs or holes, let us know. But just remember, it's no longer a cryptocurrency chain. There's no digital asset. We only consider it's data. Okay, it's people, see this from a different perspective, not a cryptocurrency perspective. Okay, what's the goal? So the short-term goal for BSN Spartan network is just bring the public chain technology to everybody. Okay, because we really believe in the public chain technology. We really think it's a beautiful, powerful technology. We just want everybody can access it. Okay, we want a high school student think about very good decentralized application idea and can spend $10 to build the application and run that as a business after 3 days. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, in short term. The long-term goal is actually a BSN's vision, okay? Because we truly believe, right now almost all the IT system we call private IT system always belong to someone. As large as Google Cloud, as large as AWS, is still controlled by one single board of directors. So almost all the IT systems in the world are private IT systems. So, but the blockchain gave us a new idea called the public IT system, which means, for example, the public chain is not controlled by one single entity. It's controlled by, could be a couple, right? 2 people, could be controlled by 40 entities. It could be controlled by unlimited people, like the universally decentralized. So we think that kind of IT system actually should be called a public IT system, like a private IT system, like your home, the public IT system, like a citizen government park. It's just 2 spaces. So you can choose, where the data goes, where the IT process goes. So that's why, we actually from the not only BSN Spartan project, it's actually the whole BSN project. We actually push for the public IT system concept. Okay, so from that, we think the internet, this is actually the main concept of BSN project. Okay, we believe the internet will become 2 layers. One layer is right now, like AWS, like a Google Cloud, it's wherever we can build on them, it's called the private IT systems. The operating system are Unix based or Windows NT based. The database technology, like MySQL, Oracle, the cloud technology, like Google Cloud, AWS, and the communication protocol, like HTTP, like TPS, like the streaming, new streaming protocols, they all point to point. On the public IT system, it will be based on the broadcasting. So we think in next 10 years, probably 20 years, internet will become 2 layers. One layer called the private layer of internet. It's our current internet. And the second layer will require new cloud technology, like a Spartan network, to start with. And the new operating system, like public chains, the blockchains, new database technology. We think NFT actually is a small database technology, and new communication protocols to link, more IT systems in the same time, not like one by one, okay, like a current internet does. So this is actually our vision. And that's why we call this public IT system, not Web3. Okay, we don't like the word Web3. First is the cryptocurrency word. Okay, it's always associated with cryptocurrency, stuff like that. Also, we don't think the public layer will be replaced by the private layer will be replaced by the public layer. Like many people from the Web3 concept, they say, okay, Web3 will replace the Web2. No, because they will coexist. And the majority of the data still on the private layer. No matter how beautiful the park is, you still stay at home most time. So the majority of your data still in the private system, but you can share your data much, much better, make your data, much, much more transparent, and also give you end user much, much more control and power over their own data by utilizing the public IT systems. Okay, and the BSN Spartan network is our first tiny step toward this mission, this dream. And another question is people actually ask, okay, how innovative is the Spartan network? So people say, okay, you are using the existing public chains, and I mean, you call your cloud services. All the clouds actually contributed by some other people. You don't even build the data centers, and there's not many development, done. We actually built the whole thing in 3 months, okay, in 3 months. So is that really innovative? Actually, personally, I think it's very, very innovative, because the textbook definition of innovation is to look beyond the mainstream application and redirect some technology, into some other areas and other applications and other type of user cases, and make all the work and the production more efficient and the people's life more enjoyable or fulfilling. That's the textbook innovation. And also, I have my own definitions of innovation. Sometimes when you say, okay, I have an innovative idea, then you tell everybody. Then everybody say, that's really good idea. Personally, I don't think it's innovation, because everybody actually understands it. and subconsciously they know it. You just bring them out to say it, put it into words. The true innovation is something you tell people. People say you are crazy, or you are stupid, or you are silly, and what you just said is not going to happen. And after 3 years, 10 years, 50 years, or 200 years, after they killed you or burn you on a stake, then they realized you were right. That's true innovation. Okay. So personally, I think Spartan Network is innovative enough. And this is actually something almost every single my friends from the crypto industry ask me. Why go through this kind of thing? You can just build the entity into a tradable token and probably make a lot of money. We don't, okay? Because there's values involved. You know, the Spartan Network is still a commercial project. Okay, I'm still a businessman. But it's really about you value the long-term value or short-term gain, which one you goes. I mean, I want both at the same time, okay? But if you choose, I go with long-term value a little bit, okay? Lean to the long-term value, because I think that's how you really build a good technology and a good company, and which can last 100 years, okay? You can make some quick money, but I don't think so. I don't think that will build a great company in the long run. Second one is about social value and the personal value. I truly believe in those kind of stuff, okay? Because I believe when we die, our personal value becomes zero. No matter how beautiful you are, how rich you are, when you die, personal value becomes zero. Okay, you transfer, probably you just transfer your personal value to your family value, okay, next generation's value. But what makes your personal value really last long is to convert your personal value into a social value. That's why those billionaires and the people set up foundations, give money to charity, they actually converting their personal value into a social value. And the social value can last longer and become your legacy. Of course, I want both. I want both. But if let me choose now, I probably lean to the social value a little bit. Okay, that's why we go the harder way, because we think commercially we will make much more money in long run, and at the same time build a great company and a great project and build a great infrastructure even for the mankind. Also, I think when I die, I will die and knows nothing afterwards. So let me leave something behind meaningful for other people. And also, the last reason, no, we are just crazy, okay? I don't know how to explain that. Yeah, and also with this chance, I officially announced the Spartan Network is launched, okay? And thank you. The website went live 6 a.m. today. So if you want to check out the website, it's spartan.bsn.foundation. So everything related to Spartan Network will be under the bsn.foundation domain name. Okay, spartan.bsn.com. .foundation, sorry. And this is the homepage. You will see 3 buttons here. The first one is the white paper. Okay, so it's a little bit rough, but I think it's okay. You can click and read 20, 25, or 26 pages. The quick start actually is where you'll find out how to set up a data center. Okay, the quick start is very complicated. Okay, yesterday I spent like 6 hours to edit in the manual. I even confused. Okay, so it's pretty complicated, but if you are an expert in system administration and know how to install the public chain nodes, it should be piece of cake for you. Okay. So, but if you are not a technician, it's a little bit, harder. But the quick start actually very, very detailed. You can so step by step, go through the process, but you can set up a data center probably in 1 hour. Okay, if you know how to do it. If you are not that technical, there's a third button you can go. It's called quick testing, which means you don't set up the data center, but you can use Spartan, Reddit. Our company set up some test data centers. Then you just need a wallet. You just need a chain account. We call that chain account, or you can call that wallet. And you can actually use MetaMask to access all 3 non-crypto currency chains. They are compatible to MetaMask. So you can use MetaMask to create your private key with a chain account. And we give you free NTT every single day. So you can then, basically use the gas credit to call. You can even deploy the smart contract on any chain and call any smart contract, just like using a public chain. And remember, right now it's in production. It's not the beta. The beta testing will be from today and the end of October. So on November 1st, we will begin, the commercial, operation. So in those time, each data center can receive 10 NTT for free each day. Okay, and for free testing, just for the wallet, it's 1 NTT per day. So you can just do fully testing. But remember, the network is in production. So it's not, so whatever you do now, it will stay after the November 1st. The NTT you received for free, you can still use that after the commercial launch. And the smart contract you deployed will stay the same. So nothing changed. Just, as a commercial project, we begin to charge. So it's actually the production network. Okay. Thank you very much. And I will give my stage to Tim Bailey, and he can give you more detail on the Spartan network. Thank you.